My wife with my 2 kids fled to Europe because a full-scale war started in our home country in February 2022. Due to martial law, men are not allowed to cross the border, so I stay. About 5 months later, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer and had surgery. I was devastated and depressed. I've been missing my family so much that I want down very quickly. I've become broken. I understand that I am losing myself, losing my family, and went therapy. Things became better, but not for too long. In winter 2022, I noticed some changes in my wife's behavior. She became distant and detached. She stopped care about me even though I told her directly that I need her support and care. All my questions about what's going on has been confronted by the fact that everything is fine and she's just tired. Fast forward in February 2023, my oncologist told me that I have a chance to make a document which may allow me to cross the border. I was so happy by having at least a small change to finally visit my family. I can kiss my wife. I can hug my kids. I can take them to the seacoast. I can everything. The closer to my document's readiness, the more distant my wife became. No matter what I've asked, it was always fine, and I have nothing to worry about. And finally, in May 2023, I am here. My kids are crying and smiling. They are happy as well as my wife. But something is not there. She didn't even cook any dinner, just a bunch of dirty dishes and mess around the house. Our first night and no sex. Like WTF, you didn't see me for almost a year. Those 3 weeks in September 2022 doesn't count, and you don't want any intimacy? I've tried to initiate something, but she felt tired and wanted to sleep. 1 week passed and we hardly had one time. No kisses, no holding hands, no hugs. I've sat with her and started a conversation if it is everything fine between you and me. And you guess what? Everything is fine, honey. I just waited for so long that I'm not so sex addicted anymore. But it's not about you. We are good. I just tired, and I also need some space. My suspicions started to grow exponentially. Yes, we had tough times in our marriage when we were so tired that we had sex a few times in a month, but FF's the year and space? A few days later, I noticed some stranger's message on her phone, but I didn't saw a context as the screen was locked. She told me then that this is one of her new bosses. I was a bit worried and the next day found that this new boss liked her photos in social media. I immediately started another conversation about her feelings and who is that guy, and she told me that she doesn't know what she feels for me, and that guy is just a friend. I was ruined, but tried to stay calm. I understand we've been separated by distance for some time. I agree that it was hard for both of us, so I decided to give her some time and space, even though I wasn't a fan of that decision. So I've been nervous all the time, but as I mentioned, I decided to take my family to the seacoast and try to relax. We spent a great week together. We talked so much, we drank so much, we had sex, we kissed, everything was fine. So this is it, the regular night with the girls. I felt so worried that night and can't sleep. I've been thinking about that man and about the fact that my wife lost her feelings, but never communicated that to me while we were in different countries. I opened that pause page and here we are. He is checked in at the same place where my wife and other girls was partying. I approached her laptop. We don't have a secrets, so I had touch it in there. Opened a few messengers and found nudes, sexting, texting, I love you, I miss us with another guy from that so-called boss company. I felt down. My heart was broken. I ran away from that home and met her in the night. She saw my eyes. She understand that I know. It was hard. I was hurt. Yes, she confessed, but only after I caught her. She thought she deleted everything. I spent a few more weeks with my kids and her. I was so shocked that I tried to put all the blame on me. I was looking for some reasonable explanations. We slept in one bed, we had sex all that time, and I tried to get her back, but she was stone cold. Their affair was a few months long, so while I was getting all documents, she started new life behind my back. After I came back to my home country, I've started to analyze the situation. I tried to have a conversation with her, but she just asked for more time to figure it out. I suggested to go to marriage counseling twice, but she just ignored that like I never said it. It was her choice, it was her decision to ruin everything. I lost her forever. I lost myself. She betrayed me while I was battling cancer and needed her the most. I am devastated. I am ruined. I feel unworthy, miserable human being. She tried to put a blame on me for her adultery, but instead I confronted her and told her to shut up. Why on earth you never talked to me about your feelings? I never saw that coming. I've been thinking that we finally happy and can relax after chasing our dreams for so many years. If she ever told me that she is unhappy, I would have fixed everything or at least try to fix it, and she was dead silent. I believe things like this never happens within one day. I just don't get why she never openly communicated her feelings and needs to me. Last summer, I've got a paper letter from her where she expressed how she loves me and miss me and that she counts the days when we can be together. I am going through our text messages every night and I swear I can't believe it was all her lies. Well, where am I now? I am trying hard to start a healing process now, but these texts between her and him just tattooed in my mind. These photos she never sent me. These love words she told him and me every single day of her affair. I can't believe how someone who promised me to go through all this nightmare together 6 months ago can betray you so hard. She won't even try to talk about reasons of why and how it happened. She's not remorseful. I talk to my kids every morning, and before they go to bed, I love them so much and they love me back. I'm just so afraid that they may hate me someday, that Daddy betrayed them and ruined our family. I stay strong for myself and for my kids' sake. I am thinking about filing the divorce, but I am not sure I'm ready now. Maybe I'm just too afraid of my choice I have to make. Still don't get why my WW didn't divorce first and asking me not to rush things. I am completely lost and broken. I don't cry anymore because I feel nothing anymore. Her betrayal hurts as hell, as well as thoughts about my cancer which may return if I'll surrender. Second story. This is my first time using this platform to share something, and I'm not a native speaker, so forgive me if I don't do it correctly or say something that doesn't make sense. I, 26mm, have been married to my wife, 26F, for 1 year, but we've been together for 6. We have a pretty special story overall. We've known each other for approximately 21 years now. We went to the same kindergarten, but eventually in elementary school, I had to move. But when I was in senior year of high school, we reconnected, became friends again, then best friends for a couple of years, all platonic, and finally started a relationship back in 2017. Up until that point, I can say I was kind of the jealous type. Because of my previous high school relationship, I had some trust issues, but the fact that we were best friends first dialed back those issues. I guess one important fact that I was missing here is that we were our first sexual partners. We've had ups and downs, as all relationships, but we always came out on top, solving everything. Last year, almost exactly 1 year actually, we got married, a special ceremony and all. Now, I never had an issue with her college friends. She would go out and have fun. Sometimes I'd go with her, sometimes I wouldn't, and that was fine. I know my wife is gorgeous, she's always been, and I knew she was the crush of most of her friends, but she did have a crush on one of them. For the purposes of the story, I'll call him X. She had a thing with X back in the first year of college, which I just found out, but never anything serious, and like I said, never anything physical, as we were our firsts. Now, she told me that in that time they discussed starting a relationship, having sex and that kind of stuff, but it never really happened. He moved on and eventually started dating the woman he's married now and has a child with. I'm a software developer and she's a biologist, and because of nature of our careers, I work from home and she has to go visit shrimp farms and even sometimes travel to other provinces. X is a biologist as well, and my wife and him share the same route, and sometimes they used to meet to catch up in one of her trips to another province. He traveled with her because he wanted leads for new clients over there. At the end of the day, they went out for a couple of drinks and started talking about how they used to have a thing. One thing lead to another, and they ended up having sex. I didn't know he was going with her over there, and if I knew, I'd have told my wife. He wanted something from her and not just the leads. I'm not stupid. I know my wife wanted it too. and that's why she didn't tell me he was going over there with her in the first place. They met a couple of times after that in our city. I noticed for the last couple of weeks, my wife was behaving strange when I was around, and I asked her what was up, but she didn't say anything. Yesterday, I noticed something strange in her bag that she travels with, a dress she usually uses when we go to the beach. We actually went to beach last month, before anything started with X. I think she just forgot to take it out, but in that moment, I didn't remember our trip, so it just clicked the wrong way with me seeing that dress in her bag, and I had to do something about it. I know privacy is important, but I was probably at my lowest, thinking the worst, so I know her iPad password, and I knew her socials were logged in there. That's how I found out everything with X, all the sneaky messages and how they were having fun. I get sick just thinking about it. My whole world broke down. I'm a hopeless romantic, always been. I felt in my heart I was marrying the love of my life. I still think she is the love of my life. And I'm not religious, but I grew up in a Catholic house, so I've always had this thought that if I was going to get married, it'd be forever, once and with the right one, and that's it. I faced her with the messages and everything I found out. She broke down to tears and begged for forgiveness, begged me to stay. She told me she would quit her job if that's what it takes to save what's left of our marriage. She actually told me that everything was her fault, entirely, and that I didn't have to think for a second that it was my fault by any means. She told me that she got carried away by the thrill of it and that she deeply regrets it and that she's really disgusted of herself. And I want to believe her, but on the other hand, I know if I hadn't found out about this, they already had plans to meet next week after a big expo that's held yearly for the shrimp sector in my country. So yeah, she realized that she was doing something wrong, apparently, but only after I found out. And that's really bugging me. What if I didn't find out? We actually stayed up all night, both of us crying and talking. Him and her, it's all I can think about. I barely slept, and I have barely eaten since yesterday. I always said to myself that if I ever went through something like this, I would leave that woman. But I'm still at home, with her trying to figure what to do. Please, help me. Best comments. She only regrets getting caught. She would have continued on with the affair if you didn't find out. It wasn't only one time, it was several times. She lied and cheated on you. If you can't trust her again, you shouldn't be married. Remember, without trust, there is no marriage. She endangered your health with her sexual escapades, exposing you to possible STDs. What if she had gotten pregnant? Would she pass it off as being yours? You will always have that thought of what she is doing when not with you, or who is she talking to or texting on the phone. You will also have those thoughts of what she did with him and not with you sexually. Mind movies will always be lingering in your head. If you can live with those thoughts and feelings, you are a better man than me. Ultimately, it is your decision. Don't let it be a bad one. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Sorry, bro. I think one thing you should do is tell X's wife with the proofs. She also deserved the truth. Now, when it comes to the love of your life, you say you grew up in a Catholic house. Did your mom cheat? Did your dad cheat? Or were they having a good relationship? She says nothing is wrong with you and it's all her fault, yes. But what is the problem then? What was she seeking that she was willing to throw away everything and didn't care about you while doing it? You said it yourself. What would have happened if you didn't find out? Would she have continued? Leave you for him? Maybe get pregnant and make you raise him? Who knows how far it could have gone? All those questions need a lot of time and thinking to answer, but alone, you can't think straight. While you are with her, you don't have kids, so leave the house and go stay somewhere else for at least a month or two, so you can take a break and reflect. So get out, meet a lawyer to know your options, take care of yourself. Sorry that you are going through this. The first thing that you need to do is get away from her for a while to think and get your mind right. You will not be able to think about what is best for you if she is there in your face, love bombing you. You'll need to contact a lawyer to get options in case you decide divorce is best for you. It is a roller coaster of emotions. The closer it is to D-Day, you will go from sad to mad, back to sad, the repeat. The thing that will kill you the most is the mind movies, the visualization of X having his way with your wife and her giving herself to him in ways that she never did to you. That's what is going to decide whether you can initially get past this or not. The rest will be how she responds to the difference in the way you look at her. You will never view her the same again, and she will know it. Knowing it, will she still do the work it takes to win you back? It will not be easy, and it will not be a short duration. Whatever the case, whatever you decide, I wish you luck on the long road ahead. Thank you for listening. If you like this video, please give it a like and write your opinion in the comments. See you soon.